The frequency distribution of scores obtained by 50 students in a class test are given in the table below. This is a grouped data. So we are given the scores and the frequency. We are required to find the value of M. Okay. To find the value of M, you can see that we only have M in the frequency. That means we are going to add the whole of the frequency and equate it to 50 because we are being told that there are 50 students. So that means summation F is 50. So let's add 3 plus 10 minus M plus 3M plus 8 plus 2M plus 2 plus M plus 2 equals to 50. Now bringing the numbers together, 3 plus 10 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2. Then the variables minus M plus 3M plus 2M plus M equals to 50. Adding the numbers together will give us 25, and the variables will give us plus 5M equals to 50. That means 5M is equal to 50 minus 25. So 5M is 25. That means M is 25 divided by 5, which is 5. That's the value of M. The second part, we are asked to calculate the mean. For us to calculate the mean, that means we need to get the midpoint of the scores. So I'm going to draw a table so that we can compute the values. So if this first column is for scores, then we can put the midpoint, which is usually represented by X, then the frequency, then the product of the frequency and each of the midpoints. Now, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, and 30 to 34. So, before we find the midpoints, let's just compute the value of the frequency. This is given to us 3. 10 minus M means 10 minus 5, which is 5. 3M means this 3M. 3M means 3 times 5, which is 15. 8 is given to us. 2M plus 2 means 2 times 5 plus 2, and that's 12. And M plus 2 means 7. So we've written the actual values of the frequency. Now for the midpoint, we can easily get the midpoint by adding the two limits of the grouped data, that is 5 plus 9, then divided by 2, that's 14 over 2, which is 7. The midpoint is actually gotten from just writing the range of values. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see that 7 is the middle number. So that's why it's called the midpoint. But because usually we can have, for example, if it is a ogive, for example, you have, in this case, you can have 4.5 and 9.5. So it will be just easier to just add the two limits, then divide it by 2. Another thing that is common for questions like this in statistics is that they have a constant increment value. What do I mean? 5 plus 9 over 2 is 7, right? So now let's add 5, 10, and 14 and divide it by 2. That's 24 over 2, which is 12. So the first one is 7, the second one is 12. Now for the third one, 15 plus 19 divided by 2, that's 34 divided by 2, which is 17. You can see that they have the constant increment value of 5. So this is 17, this is going to be 22, this is going to be 27, and this is going to be 32. So anytime you are working on question like this, when it's a group data, once you know the difference between the first two midpoint, then that's going to be the increment value. So now that we've done that, now let's quickly write the values of fx. 7 times 3, 21. I'll be very fast about this. 60, 255, 176, 324, and 224. Now that we know the value of fx each, we can add them together. When I add everything on the calculator, you will get 1060. So that means mean, which is summation fx divided by summation f, is equal to 1060 divided by summation f, which is 50, and that will give us 21.2. Hence the mean is 21.2. Now we've calculated the value of the first two questions required of us. Now we have to calculate the standard deviation. Actually, when I was computing this table, when I was drawing the table of the record, I already know the number of columns that I would need. Why? Because once you practice a topic enough, there are some things that will come naturally to you. You know that for standard deviation, you need the difference between the x, that is the midpoint, and the mean. You need it each. Then you need the square of it before you now multiply that square by the frequency. So that should already give you a glimpse of, okay, how many columns are you going to need? So even if it is not a group data like this, you still need those 3 columns I just mentioned. So in mathematics, or let me say generally in life, practice makes progress. If you have to be very smart on a topic, you must have practiced a lot of questions. So let's just proceed. So to calculate standard deviation, I need the difference between the midpoint and the mean. Then I need the square of it before I now multiply it by the frequency. So x in the first case is 7. 7 minus 5 is what? It is not 7 minus 5. The mean is 21.2. So 7 minus 21.2 is negative 14.2, right? 12 minus 21.2 is negative 9.2. 17 minus 21.2 is negative 4.2. The next one is 0.8. When you take away 21.2 away from 22, and when you take away 21.2 from 27, you will get 5.8, and the last one is 10.8. Now, the square of each of those values, I'll also be fast about this. 201.64, 8, 4.64, 17.64, 0.64, 33.64, and 116.64. Now, we don't need to add that until we multiply it by the frequency. So the frequency, which is this column here, we want to multiply this column by this column. So in multiplying it individually, we'll have 3 times 201.64 684.92, 604.92, 423.2, 264.6, 5.12, 403.68, 816.48. I decided to leave everything at 2 decimal places, so let me just include a 0 here so that this is going to be 2 decimal places as well. Now we need to add all of this together, this last column, and when we do that, we are going to get 2518. So that's the summation. And now let's come back to the formula for standard deviation. SD is equal to, we have a different formula for calculating standard deviation, but the one that is appropriate for the data given to us is square root of summation F multiplied by this divided by summation F, and that will be square root of 2518 divided by 50. That's square root of 50.36, which is equivalent to 7.096. As much as I like probability can be quite tricky sometimes, but once you understand the principles, you will always get it. A number is selected as random from each of the sets 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3, 5. Find the probability that the sum of the two numbers is greater than 3 and less than 7. This is actually quite similar to tossing a fair die more than once, let's say twice. When you toss a fair die just once, you have a sample space of 6, right? Just 1 to 6. But when you toss a fair die twice, you have a sample space of 36, right? That we are going to put 1 to 6 on the row and on the column, and as well on the row to compute the sample space. So in a question like this as well, we are going to compute the sample space. So okay, let me just draw off the record. So on one side, we can have these 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, 4. And we can have 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. Now, find the probability that the sum of the two numbers, that means we are adding the two numbers, right? In this case, we'll have 1 and 2. This 1 and this 2, right? For here, we are going to have 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3, and the last on this row is 1 and 4. For the second row, we'll have 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 3 and 4, and lastly, we are going to have 5 and 2, 5 and 3, 5 and 4. Now, the question is asking us that find the probability that the sum of the two numbers is greater than 3 and less than 7. Greater than 3, less than 7 means the sum is either 4, 5, or 6, right? The sum of the two numbers is either 4, 5, and 6. So which of these pairs sum up to 4, 5, or 6? So let's find out. 1 and 2 will sum up to 3. 1 and 3 will sum up to 4, of course. 1 and 4 will sum up to 5. 3 and 2 as well. 3 and 3. Well, the rest is already greater than 7. 3 and 4, 5 and 2, 5 and 3, 5 and 4. The sum of these pairs are greater than 7 or more. So that means the number of possible outcomes in this case is, our numerator is going to be 4, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the probability is equal to 4 divided by, how many do we have in total? 9. The entire sample space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's the answer required of us in this question. The coordinates of 2 points P and Q in a plane are 2 and -5. So this is going to be the x coordinate, y coordinate, and -4, -6. So we can call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Find the equation of the straight line joining the 2 points. Well, the equation of a straight line is given by m equals y minus y1 divided by x minus x1, or y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 equals to y minus y1 divided by x minus x1. Simply because gradient or slope is also equals to the change in the y coordinate, so that's why y2 minus y1 divided by change in the x coordinate. So I'm just going to erase this since it's the same formula. Now, with what I've labeled x1, y1 and x2, y2, let's just substitute into the value here. Y2 is minus 6 minus y1 is minus 5 divided by x2 is negative 4 minus x1 is 2. That means we'll have minus 6 plus 5 divided by minus 4 minus 2, and that will give us negative 1 divided by negative 6, and that's simply 1 over 6, right? The gradient is 1 over 6. So that means, coming back to the first formula that I've written here, 1 over 6, which is m, the slope or the gradient, equals to y minus y1, in this case, negative 5, right? Divided by x minus x1, which is 2. So we'll have 1 over 6 equals to y plus 5 divided by x minus 2. Well, we can cross multiply. That means 1 into x minus 2 equals 6 into y plus 5. That would mean that x minus 2 equals to 6y plus 30, right? So we can decide to bring everything into just one side of the equation. So if we are to do that, that would mean I want to take away everything from this side. We'll be left with 0. That would be 6y plus x plus 30 plus 2. Because the negative 2 coming to the other side will become, okay, it is not going to be plus x, because positive x coming to this side would become minus x, right? So that means 0 equals to 6y minus x plus 32, or you can just say the equation of the line is 6y minus x plus 32 equals 0. ABCD is a trapezium with side BC parallel to AD. E is a point on AD such that BE is perpendicular to AD. If angle BDA is 55 degrees, just as we can see from the diagram, side AE is 7 centimeters, BE is 18 centimeters, and BC is 9 centimeters. Calculate angle BAE. Well, this is angle BAE right here. This angle right here. And I believe that angle is quite easy to find because we have two of its sides in triangle BAE, we have two sides given to us. That is side AE, which is adjacent to the angle, and side BE, which is opposite to the angle. That means the trig ratio we are going to use is tan. Now, tan BAE will be equal to side BE, which is the opposite, divided by side AE, right? That would mean tan BAE is 18 divided by 7, and that will give us 2.571 if we want to leave our answer to 4 significant figures. Now that means BAE will be equal to arctan 2.571, and that will be equal to 68.75 degrees. So angle BAE is equal to 68.75 degrees. Now, for the second part of the question, we are asked to find the area of ABCD, and ABCD is the entire figure, right? So now, before we can find the area of ABCD, we can see that in fact, we are even being told that it is a trapezium. So, and the formula to calculate area of a trapezium is what? A equals 1 over 2 of the sum of the parallel sides multiplied by the distance between them, that is the height. So we have the first parallel side BC, the second parallel side AD, but we do not know what side AD is, right? And we know the height. The height is given to be 18 centimeters. That means we'll need to calculate side AD first. Now, the common mistake I've seen students make is to think that from this point E here to point D is also 9 centimeters, and that's very wrong. That is not correct. The side that is going to be equal to 9 centimeters is the distance between E and this point here. This point E, let me use another ink. This point E here, and somewhere around here. Then this place to this place will be 9 centimeters. So please make no mistake in questions like this by thinking the entire ED is 9 centimeters. No, it is not. So let's calculate side ED. Now, to calculate it, it is quite simple. I believe that's even why they give us 55 degrees. Because if you look carefully at this triangle, this BED, this triangle BED, you would see that we have an angle and we have the side opposite to it, right? So if we have an angle and the side opposite to it, and we are looking for side ED, the side adjacent to that angle, that means we are still going to use tangent, right? So in this case, tan BDE, which is given to us as 55 degrees, will be equal to the opposite side, which is 18 centimeters, BE divided by the adjacent side, which is ED. That means tan 55 degrees equals to 18 divided by side ED, right? So that means tan 55 is actually equal to 1.428 equals to 18 divided by side ED. That means side ED will be equals to 18 divided by 1.428, and that will be equivalent to 12.605. Now that we know what side ED is, that means we can now calculate the entire length of AD, which is the second parallel side, right? So from A to D. So that means, therefore, side AD is equals to AE, which is 7 centimeters, plus ED, which is 12.605 centimeters. Please always remember to put the correct unit, and that is equal to 19.605 centimeters. Now we can proceed to calculating the area. Now area is going to be what? 1 over 2, the sum of the two parallel sides, that is 9 plus 19.605, right? Times height, which is 18. So these 2 here can cancel 18 here. We'll find 2 in 18 9 times. That means our answer will be 9 plus 19.605 is 28.605 times 9, and that will give us 257.445 squared centimeters. We can actually round it up to, let's say, just 2 decimal places. That's 257.45 squared centimeters. So that's the area of the trapezium, which is what we are asked to find in the second part of this question.